Thank you, Chairman Perry. Transnational criminal organizations are a serious and growing threat to the American people. They disregard the rule of law of all nations and use their networks to smuggle drugs and traffic human beings for sexual exploitation and slave labor. They resort to brutal violence and intimidation tactics to carry out their illegal deeds. These networks of vile individuals and gangs like MS-13 have been known to kidnap, torture, and behead their victims. Top officials at DHS are very alarmed by their actions. Before becoming White House Chief of Staff, Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly explained to a national security forum last July, to me personally, that one of his top concerns is a partnership between TCOs and international terror groups. If such alliances were formed, terrorists would have an easier time sneaking a dirty bomb or other catastrophic weapon and resources into the United States. Further, in written testimony before our full committee back in November, Acting Secretary Duke stated that TCOs are, quote, bringing drugs, violence, and dangerous goods across our borders and pose a persistent national security threat to the United States, end of quote. Unfortunately, some of these partnerships are starting to take hold. Recent reports have shown that Hezbollah has been very active in recent years with international drug cartels in Latin America. We cannot allow such dangerous actors to gather in our hemisphere unchallenged. The ability of TCOs secreting terrorists and WMD into our country is a grave threat. And this committee is going to undertake a thorough review of these possibilities so that we can prevent them from happening. Sadly, these TCOs have an easy time infiltrating our communities because the security of our southern border is just not strong enough to stop them. Hopefully, we will soon be able to fix that. Legislation I introduced to strengthen border security with new infrastructure, including a wall, more boots on the ground, and new technology was passed out of our full committee in October. Last week, that important legislation was incorporated into a larger bill to fix our broken immigration system. I am hopeful that we can pass it through the Congress and get it to the President's desk very soon. All three branches of government working together is essential in this fight. But we must also create and foster partnerships with governments in Latin America, help eliminate these threats from TCOs. One of the most important lessons we learned from 9/11 attacks is that we must effectively communicate vital information among federal departments and agencies and law enforcement. Doing so will save many innocent lives. Today's witnesses represent the hardworking men and women from FBI, ICE, and State Department who work very hard for the protection of their fellow Americans. And I'd like to thank each of you individuals for being here today. And before I yield back, I just want to say on a personal note, before becoming a member of Congress, I was the Chief of Counterterrorism and National Security in the Western District of Texas in the U.S. Attorney's Office. I had the Texas-Mexico border in my jurisdiction. I've been dealing with this issue for quite some time. 7 terms in Congress and many years as a federal prosecutor. This problem has not stopped. It's gotten worse. It has not gotten better. It's now more of a threat. And I think it cries out for action from Congress and from the administration to finally, once and for all, get this job done. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.